Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Popco the Writers. Tonight, we're going to talk about a few different things, and Jim only knows about SheHulk, but we're going to throw a few other things out there. But I'm going to start with, Jim and I were just talking before the show started, and I was telling him I was trying to keep from doing an accent. I have this thing where I do voices and imitations and stuff. I used to drive Tone Rodriguez nuts because we'd be traveling across the country, and I would tell him, you can Dylanize any song. And he would throw a song out there, and it's like, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Yeah, and I would do that to just about any song.
You're this generation's Rich Little.
Well, I was talking with my nephews, and my nephew and his boyfriend, and we always get into movies and movies they haven't seen. We talked about Silverado and My Favorite Year. And My Favorite Year, of course, because Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers and SheHulk, My Favorite Year. But somehow, and I don't remember how, I did a voice that then shifted into Bob Dylan, that then shifted into Arlo Guthrie. And I spent like 20 minutes, or maybe not 20 minutes, about 10 minutes doing snippets from Alice's Restaurant. And I got that voice going because that's really his kind of voice. When he is talking like that, and he says, there I was in the police station in the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one saying what each one was. And I kind of got, and then I tried to go back to my normal voice, and I still had a little bit of this voice here of Arlo Guthrie.
You got stuck on it.
I got stuck on Arlo Guthrie. So,
and nobody knew what you were doing, right?
I had played it once before for my nephew, so this was really going educating his boyfriend on it, and talking about the trash piles and being drafted, and my brother and I used to listen to that song every Thanksgiving. They played it out here in California on the radio every Thanksgiving. And we'd get around the radio and we'd listen to it. That was part of our Thanksgiving tradition. So
mine was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
I mean, I think we all have holiday traditions. Like for me, 4th of July, I always watch 1776.
Sure.
The musical with
makes sense.
Yeah, with Ken Howard and William Daniels, which is great.
Right.
But yeah, so I spent a good 10, 15 minutes trying to get rid of the Arlo Guthrie voice. And it comes back just like that.
Wow.
I'm a lot of fun to play D&D with. All my NPCs have unique voices. Somehow we were playing one time, and the sheriff of the town suddenly became Marlon Brando. You come into my town. You come into my town and you bring this shit to me. I guess that's more De Niro than Brando, but I was doing more Brando at the time.
Hey, it could have been Roscoe P. Coltrane. I mean,
them Dukes, them
Duke boys.
Yep. And it was funny is when I first started doing imitations, it was always presidents for some reason. I learned how to do Nixon first, which is really strange because he was way out of office before I was born, and then it became Ronald Reagan because Reagan's easy because you have the keyword, you have the touchstone, well, Nancy and I are happy to be here. Where the hell are we? And even Clinton, I feel your pain. Once you get into Clinton, you can kind of roll with it, So if you get that phrase, you can jump into it. So yeah.
It's an unexpected treat tonight, Dan.
So yeah, playing D&D with me is always interesting, and Matt Hawkins got me to play D&D, and he was the DM, and we'd play, and I was a bard, and and then we flipped, and I ended up being the DM, and suddenly these voices started coming out, and I just see his eyes going. So, and part of this is because I signed up for a TikTok this weekend. I have a TikTok account now.
Uh-oh.
Well, my idea is that I'm going to
Uh-oh.
do TikTok, and I'm going to do like the latest breaking news.
Yeah.
I'll hop on, quickly go, and I was going to call it TLDR, too long, Dan read instead. And I'll just do a quick highlight, 60-second coverage, boom, you got what you need and you're gone. And I did about 4 of those, and they've already gotten like 400 or 500 hits, and I haven't done anything to promote it. So like this may work, and then try to shove them over to the Dan Wickline show or Pop Go the Writers.
Yeah.
But I've been spending time watching TikTok, trying to see what some of the things are that people do, and that's pretty insane.
From what I understand, TikTok is just for people being shown videos of creepy, spooky stuff. That's obviously all fake, and then they act like they're scared by it. That's from what I understand TikTok is for.
I haven't come across any of that. What I've been getting is people take soundtracks from something, like voiceover stuff, and set it to like dogs. So it's like dogs are talking. Trying to remember songs from different eras. Women trying to get boyfriends. I'm not sure what all that's about.
Well, sure. I mean, that's got to happen somewhere.
Yeah. And a lot of D&D stuff and superhero stuff. But that might be because the particular likes and dislikes I put in.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do little videos of doing readings from my books, not real long passages, but kind of like a sampler kind of thing. So maybe I should look into TikTok then.
There you go. Because you can do like 15-second, 1 minute, and then longer ones.
Yeah, well, that would be like perfect, I think.
Yeah. By the way, guys, when Jim and I are the ones getting on TikTok, it's done.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's time to move on.
Is there an age limit?
That sound you hear, that is the death knell for TikTok.
Yeah, really.
Jim and I signing on for TikTok. So.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I've dominated Facebook. TikTok is next.
There you go. Yeah, and if you want to follow my TikTok, it's my name, Dan Wickline. So it's like at Dan Wickline, all one word. So, all right. Before we jump into our She-Hulk conversation, and I do think we need to pad this episode a little bit, because at this point, the She-Hulk episode is half the length of our podcast.
Okay. Just do more voices, Dan. I can give my Rings of Power news.
Okay, we'll get to that. My favorite voice lately has been I play a dwarf rogue in a game, and he speaks like this. He always talks in this little voice, but he's also very foul-mouthed, so he's constantly cursing.
It almost sounds like Radar O'Reilly a little bit.
But what's funny is when we were playing we had a bard, and he said he would play any song, and I went, "Can you play Toss a Coin to the Richer?" And then he started singing, so I joined in. Toss a coin to the richer, a valley of plenty. And that went on for a while.
It's amazing you get anything done.
I don't.
I'm not surprised.
All right. So, Rings of Power news. Let's hear it.
I was telling you before we started this or whatever that I got an email from Cinemark, which I am the movie club member of, and it said something in the title like free ticket for Rings of Power screening or something like that. So I opened it up, and I didn't really know much about this at all, but they're taking the first 2 episodes and screening it in theaters, like limited. And I don't know if it's just Cinemark or that other franchises or whatever you want to call them are doing this. But I followed the links, and next thing I know, I was picking out a seat, and I've got a ticket now to see it for free on this Wednesday, the 31st, in my hometown.
I'm looking at my trash to see if I have anything from Cinemark. I'm part of their movie club, so I must have missed it.
Yeah, this is interesting because I've talked to a couple people now who are also movie club members, and they swear they did not get the email. So I'm wondering if it was a random, not one that didn't go out to everybody.
I've got it.
Oh, wow! It went into your spam.
No, I deleted it, not reading it, because I'm kind of silly that way. But I click on claim tickets. Let's see if we.
Now, I hadn't had it for very long in my inbox, so when I opened it and started doing it, I thought, I probably won't get this. And when I opened up to get the seating chart, it was about half the theater was already filled.
Huh.
And but I managed to get a seat pretty much where I normally get a seat. But I'm really excited about it because it's a day or two before everybody else gets to see it. It's the first 2 episodes, so it's going to be feature length. It's like 2.5 hours, something like that. And I'm almost hoping that I don't love it so much that when I have to sit home and watch it on my TV that I don't go, I want the cinema experience.
I'll have to check that out. So, okay.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
I wonder how many other people, got that email.
Don't know.
Yeah. And it's just one night, one time. It's
7 o'clock. Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. It's not like you had a lot to choose from. It was either you go at that time or you don't go at all.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting. Though what's funny is that I don't have a Cinemark near where I live. I'm part of the club because up by Lisa in Victorville in the high desert, they have Cinemark. So I cited it because I would go to movies with her. So I would literally have to finish my show and drive 75 miles up to the high desert.
Might be worth it. Who knows?
Might be. Yeah.
Oh, and wait, it gets better. I supposedly get a $10 food voucher too.
Ooh, fancy! You can get
I get it free. Plus, I get $10 worth of snacks.
Yeah, you can get like 3 potato chips.
That's 3 potato chips and 2 French fries.
There you go.
Or 2 French fries.
That's right. Or a small beverage. No refill.
Yeah, a Dixie cup.
Speaking of fantasy stuff, did you get a chance to watch the premiere of House of the Dragon?
No, because I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Well, I'm
intrigued by it because it's funny because it takes place thousands of years before Game of Thrones. Does that sound familiar? Or there's another fantasy series I think coming out that takes place thousands of years before the main franchise.
Yeah, that's true. You don't actually have to have seen Game of Thrones.
That's what I've heard.
I've only watched I watched the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first 3 as they were airing. I caught up on the 4th one. I started and then fell off and then caught up on them. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I saw was Peter Dinklage's character of Tyrion shooting his father while he sat on a toilet.
Yeah.
With a crossbow. And I thought, well, that's a perfect place to end any series. That's that right there. Peter Dinklage murdering Charles Dance on a toilet. You go ahead and just tap out right there. And
well, when I saw that this show was coming out, I said, "Oh, great! Another reason for George R.R. Martin not to finish that last book." And then I heard that no, he doesn't really have anything to do with it. But I don't believe that.
They're working off of this book called Fire and Swords, Fire and something or other. And so basically, but it's not really this well-written narrative. It's more like, one of the appendixes that Tolkien wrote.
Yeah, that's like the Silmarillion, right?
Yeah, it's like the history of the houses, and they just wrote story off of that. But
what a ripoff! It's a Tolkien ripoff.
The whole thing's a Tolkien ripoff. But then everything's a Tolkien ripoff. World of Warcraft.
That's true. Did you watch it?
I did. I watched the first episode.
Okay.
Because it got it's the highest highest viewed show ever on HBO Max or HBO.
I heard that. Yeah.
And
I think everybody was just tuning in to see how much nudity was in it. That's my guess.
Not nearly as much as Game of Thrones had. It's definitely toned down.
Oh, they got letters then, I guess.
Well, Matt Smith, who plays in it as Daemon, was complaining. He's like, "Do we really need all these sex scenes?"
Huh.
Which
Well,
was like,
now they know who to send the nasty letters to. It's
yeah.
all his fault.
I thought it was interesting. It definitely has more dragons in it.
Thus the name, right?
Yeah, House of the Dragon. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
there's like three baby dragons through most of Game of Thrones. They don't
yeah,
become full dragons till later on.
yeah.
This one they start with full size dragons. So, but there's
The
all that.
Rings of Power people are going, damn, we have to cut out all the dragons. We have to cut down on the dragons now with our show, or we'll look like we're copying off of these guys.
But no, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how the series continues. I think episode 2 drops tonight. But
does it feel like Game of Thrones?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It's confusing. There's a lot of people whose names you can never remember. And anybody you actually start to like gets killed like that. Yeah, it's just like Game of Thrones.
It's just like that. And that's only in the first episode.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Matt Smith doesn't die, so you got a little bit of time.
Give him some time there. Well, I assume it has a lot of the like house names in it, the recognizable,
Yeah.
last names.
Oh yeah, there's definitely there's what names like Westeros gets dropped, and Lannister and Baratheon. So the names that we expect all pop up, but it's like, oh, it's their ancestor from 172 years.
Sure.
And just in case you're not sure, it's not like Marvel, which is like, well, this is taking place sometime over there. They come out specifically said that it's 172 years until Daenerys Targaryen is born. So it's like specific. Boom.
Yeah, that's very specific. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
so they say that so you don't ask for her. Like, well, where is she? It is 720 more years that you're going to be waiting.
Yep. No, it's going to be. Yeah, it's a century and 3/4. It's going to be a while. So don't think she's going to cameo. Oh, look, it's baby Daenerys. No.
Time travel.
So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. The blonde hair always throws me off in that, because whoever is a Targaryen has that bleach blonde, almost platinum blonde hair.
Yeah, right.
And nobody looks good with that hair.
Well, I think that's probably what I saw. I probably saw a clip or a commercial or something, and I had no idea that it was set before that. So I thought that was that character, and I thought, why did they end it if they were just going to continue it with this thing?
Yep. So I don't know. I think what's funny to me is how many people hated the ending of Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. They were up in arms. Mm-hmm. They wanted HBO to completely reshoot it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
So all this vitriol and hatred towards this show, and then HBO comes out and goes, "We got a prequel. Yeah, we're in." What happened to the down with Game of Thrones? Those guys are horrible, and then we have to turn it on. We need our naked women and dragons. Come on.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be really disappointed when they're tuning into Rings of Power and expecting all the nudity and sex scenes, and they're not going to get any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No. This is the Hobbits, not to kill everybody's. But yeah, there is a lot of references to King's Landing and the Vale and all of these places and houses and I mean, there's even mentions of of winter coming. They were looking for winter that many years before.
Is that right? And that's just a veiled reference to the last book by Martin, right?
Yeah. So, but no, I thought it was a pretty good start, and it's definitely getting the attention. So all those people who said they'd never watch Game of Thrones again, they lied.
How many episodes is it supposed to be?
Ooh, good question. I don't know, but I can find out real quick.
1 million episodes.
Yeah. Oh, it's already got renewed for a second season.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not short.
Well, Rings of Power, they said something like they have 5 seasons planned or something like that.
11 episodes in season 1.
Hmm.
What's funny is that if you don't want to wait, you can go out to the Wikipedia page for Dances of Dragons
Hmm.
and just read it. It's all right there.
Okay.
Everything that happens, who dies, when they die, how they fight. But the
Okay.
names are all so similar that even with reading the Wikipedia page, you have to get out a piece of paper and make notes. Like, okay, that person has like a 2-letter difference in their name, but that's princess and that's queen, but she's older than the queen because she was the queen that never was. And then they have an African American actor who seems to be part of it too, with the blonde hair.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, and he's married to the queen who used to, or the princess who's the queen that never. What? It's going to end up with one of the like murder conspiracy whiteboards. Just
right. With the strings and around the.
Which is why I tapped out on Game of Thrones in the first place, is because everybody I liked got killed other than Tyrion and Jaime, and you're not supposed to like Jaime.
Hmm.
He was having sex with his sister in the first episode and just about killed a child. And he's one of the nicer characters in the book. It's like watching Sandman going, that Corinthian is really a nice guy.
It's too bad he's an idiot, too.
Yeah, the serial killer with the teeth for eyes? He's really charming.
I wouldn't mind having a beer with him,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he doesn't kill anybody in the TV show. He kills them in the comic. In the TV show, he just kind of has sex with them and leaves.
God.
Very charming. Very charming.
I could totally see that.
By the way, so many people are like, The Sandman is the greatest adaptation of a comic ever. And I'm thinking, no, it's got flaws. It's good. I basically enjoyed it, but I am picking the hell out of it since I watched it. And even Kyle is a huge Sandman fan and was absolutely in love with everything except Patton Oswalt as Matthew the Raven, because it was just Patton Oswalt. He didn't try to do a voice.
Right.
Yeah. And then as we've been talking, I've been kind of breaking it down, some of the things I don't like, and he's like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Now you've ruined it for him, Dan.
Yeah, I don't know why Kyle talks to me. It's like the one thing he actually likes, I'm taking away from him. Every other movie that comes out, every Marvel movie stuff, he hates it. Yeah. Civil War. Didn't like Civil War. Why? It wasn't from the comic. It wasn't the same thing. Why they used the name? Because it's a cool name. They didn't say it was going to be a straight comic adaptation, but it should have been.
I hate to see how he'll be when they get to Secret Wars. And it's literally like Lord Doom, or whatever.
Yeah, but knowing Kyle, he's actually thinking it should be the Beyonder.
Yeah.
He's looking at first Secret Wars, so
yeah.
So he wants David Hasselhoff cast. Full on Jerry curl hair, the whole thing.
David Hasselhoff's already been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He can't.
Right, but he's been in as David Hasselhoff. So the acceptance that David Hasselhoff exists in the Marvel Universe, so it's possible that the Beyonder may go, well, I was talking to my friend Ego, and this seems to be the perfect representation of a human, and he looks like David Hasselhoff.
No, I can't buy it. Nope. He gets the one character, and that's it.
All right, fair enough. But they have been using multiple people over again now.
That doesn't mean that I have to be for it.
Oh, that's true. That fair enough. Starting to sound like Kyle, but that's okay.
I'm reading Jay's comments here.
Dan gonna fix the DCU incline. Stop by and say, hey, more like Captain America, no stakes, civil stuff. But by the way, Jay, I got a surprise for you on Tuesday. You're gonna love it. Jay's my producer on my Tuesday show. So, okay. Let's see. We talked about Sandman. We talked about House of the Dragon. We talked about that. Oh, let's talk about a little bit of Marvel news, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Marvel news?
Yes, on Thursday,
Before D23, there was Marvel news.
Yes. It's sneaking out. It's not official, but you tell me how official this sounds.
Okay.
The Direct, which is a website, came out and said Marvel is currently talking to Matt Shakman, the director of WandaVision, for being the director of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, I did see that. Right. No,
So that was the first bit of news, but it was only one website, and people are going, yeah, but it's not Variety, it's not Deadline. Friday, Deadline came out and said, Marvel's talking to Matt Shakman of WandaVision about being the director of Fantastic Four. That's what our sources tell us.
But everybody hated WandaVision, right?
No, WandaVision was pretty well loved.
Except for the first 2 episodes.
Right, which was...
And people bitched about, I don't get it. What is this? It's too short.
But no, WandaVision, a lot of people like WandaVision after it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, and then...
Well, would you accept him as Fantastic Four director?
Well, I look at the Russo brothers had never done movies or hadn't done any real big movies, and we're coming off of I can't think of the name of the show with Jason Bateman, comedy thing. But
I know
they've already done comedy, and then suddenly they're doing the Civil War or Winter Soldier, Civil War, and all the event that they're great.
Yeah.
So Kevin Feige's really good at finding these guys, and I thought Matt Shakman did a really good job on WandaVision, so I don't have a problem with that. But the next bit of news that came out was kind of like this is pretty serious, because Paramount came out and said, the production on our next Star Trek feature film that would have the Kelvin crew has lost its director, Matt Shakman, but we will be looking for a new... It's like,
ho.
Yes. So the guy that Marvel's supposed to be talking about for the Fantastic Four just left Star Trek. And not a TV show, Star Trek, the next big motion picture with Chris Pine and all those guys. So that seems pretty serious.
So we assume that this is likely going to be a D23 announcement then.
Yeah. I think we'll get Matt Shakman announced. Supposedly no official offer has been made, but I think they're just wrapping it up. And if he actually left Star Trek, it's done.
Yeah.
So
Good. He doesn't need to be on any dumb old Star Trek movie.
Yeah. But
I can only assume that they said this guy did a good job on WandaVision. The series was acclaimed. He was easy to work with, and that's how he got the job. If he got the job.
Oh yeah. I mean, they must have really liked what he did, and they do that. They do hire from within. A lot of these guys. Doctor Strange was written by the guy who wrote Loki. Yeah. So they make these jumps. They do these. It's they kind of come up. So doing one of the Disney Plus series is now maybe a gateway into doing the motion pictures.
Speaking of Kevin Feige, and I'm sorry, jumping a company. Did you hear the rumor about who might be the new Kevin Feige, but at DC?
Yes, Dan Lin.
Yeah. What'd you think of that?
I think, from a personal point of view, he is in that wheelhouse that I thought would get pulled from. In that I thought they would find somebody from Marvel, but because Alan Horn had just spent so much time with Marvel, but Dan Lin was mentored by Alan Horn. And he's got all that producing experience. He's the type of guy I thought they would get. But his credentials, the Sherlock Holmes series with Robert Downey Jr.,
where's my third movie?
Yeah, that's in production, which is part of the problem why he hasn't been announced yet, is because he's got these existing projects that they've got to figure out and he's got his own production company.
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to work out, from what I understand. But he also did the Lego movies, including Lego Batman, which is well loved. And he was the producer on this little-known ABC TV show that I absolutely loved and hated the fact that it didn't get a second season. but they were able to put together a finale that at least felt satisfying. And how often does that happen?
What's
That
the
a show
show?
Forever.
Don't
Ian
know.
Ian Gofford, the guy that played Mr. Fantastic, plays a guy who can't die. Basically, if he gets killed, he comes back to life and just suddenly appears in this large body of water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds a little familiar. Yeah.
And he plays a coroner, and he's working with the police department, and someone else who has that similar thing ends up trying to hunt him. But one of the coolest things is Judd Hirsch from Taxi ends up playing Ian's son, even though the age, because
sure.
Yeah, it was just he's an antique. He owns an antique shop that his son runs, and he's a coroner. And it was just a really clever show. The female cop in it was great. The bad guy was really good. He came from Torchwood, the spinoff of Doctor Who.
Right.
And I really loved that show. And then I heard it wasn't getting picked up, and I'm like, oh man, that sucks. It's great. And then they put out a final episode that actually had some resolution to it. They didn't solve the overall thing about how he could live forever, but they kind of resolved the relationship he had with the cop in a satisfying way.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, well, at least we get that.
Yeah.
And if you get a chance to watch it, it's on. I know it's on some of the. It's on one of the streaming channels, but it's also on. I think it's on YouTube. The CW Seed, which is the CW's website or whatever it is that has a bunch of shows on it, and Forever is on it, so you can watch it for free.
What about the Batman news?
About Matt Reeves signing a multi-year first look deal for both film and television.
Yeah, like 10 years.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet that we're getting the Batman 2, the Batman 3, the spin-off of the Penguin, and probably a bunch of other stuff. And they talk about in the announcement that they're really looking forward to him playing around both in the Batman universe and in his own, creative stuff. So they are looking at him as kind of the Batman guru at this point, I think.
He's the new Zack Snyder.
I would think he's more the new Christopher Nolan.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
Because Snyder was trying to get everything, and Nolan and I think Reeves come out and said he doesn't want a crossover. He wants to make this little tight universe. And you know what? That might not be a bad way to go.
I don't think it would work as, it's not a crossover type of thing.
Right. But there are characters that could fit into that universe. The Question would easily fit into that.
Oh, sure. What I mean is like anything existing outside of that, like Black Adam's not going to show up in that. With that Batman. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to take their three main characters or the big three, and kind of separate them out into their own little universes, and you don't cross them over, because you could have Wonder Woman, and that's kind of the mythological, historical aspect, and then you could have Superman with more of the sci-fi aspect. And then you could have Batman with the more gritty noir aspect and kind of keep them all separated.
Yep.
And then move these other characters around. And you could put Shazam and Black Adam into like the Wonder Woman thing and create a whole new Superman universe. Yep. And you're putting out all three and you're having crossovers, but they're not crossing over with each other. You get other characters popping up. So, it's like, I could see them having a big room meeting, like, okay, who wants Green Arrow? Okay, the Batman universe. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Green Lantern, that's got to go to Superman. Okay, Green Lantern, you're over there.
You think that's how it's going to be? Really? Yeah.
I,
Well,
I, I could see them doing that. I
yeah.
don't think
We'd
that's
like
how
to
they do it.
think that maybe that's how it would be. Yeah. Who wants
Yeah, but
Dead Man? Matt, you want Dead Man?
yeah. I mean, I could see
Yeah,
it work.
maybe.
Yeah, I can see it work. All the ground level superheroes or all the ground level vigilante types
Yeah.
end up with Matt Reeves, and he gets
Yeah.
full carte blanche on that.
Yeah.
And if you're a sci-fi based character, you go on over with the Superman guys. You're a mythological character, you go over with Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I heard the other rumor was I heard that Batgirl was going to get a screening for the cast and crew and employees, and then it was going to be put in a vault.
Yeah, the funeral screenings that happened
Funeral screening. That's what it was. Yeah.
2 or 3 days ago. That happened, and what's interesting is it happened at the exact same time that Ezra Miller visited the Warner Brother lot to meet with Mike DeLuca and I cannot think of the lady's name, the two that run Warner Brothers right now, since they don't have the DC film guy. And he and Miller came in, and I'm going to try to use the proper pronouns. Miller identifies as they, them. So they came in and apologized for the negative publicity and all of that, swears that they're trying to get help, and supposedly it was actually a very positive meeting.
Were they in shackles?
No,
No, not in an orange jumpsuit. No.
no.
All right.
But the interesting thing is that from what reports I saw, the thing that got Miller to kind of snap to and pay attention wasn't any of the negative headlines, wasn't the arrest warrant. It was the news that one of the things Warner Brothers was considering was shelving the Flash. Supposedly that character means so much to them that that's what got them to stop and decide, okay, we need therapy, we need help, and reach out. So, but yeah, and then the funeral, and there was something about one of the directors on the Batgirl screening tried to film it with his cell phone. They're like, no, because supposedly it's off of all the computers. That before they showed it, they collected all of it, and the directors went in to try to get it, and it was gone. So,
wow, they'd have to. Somebody would hack into,
and it could be legally damaging for Warner Brothers if it got out there and made any money.
Yeah,
it would go against the tax write-off thing.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, why don't we move on to She-Hulk?
She-Hulk. Is there a She-Hulk show?
Yes, She-Hulk, attorney for hire.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this episode?
I liked it as much as the first episode. It's still, right on this level for me, and I still have not felt offended as a guy and or anything at all like that. I don't think it's cheesy or corny or anything like that. I mean, no, as far as compared to Moon Knight, maybe it's cheesy. I don't know, but no, I think it's exactly what it should be. And it's got a really good balance of everything going on in it. And I think I was really surprised about the Bruce Banner scene. I didn't think that we were going to get more of that thing.
I thought we would get more, but I thought it'd be later in the season.
Yeah, I didn't think we were really going to get anything more of it at all. That he was, it was just going to be, I'm going to look into that, and that's that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the, I'm a completely different person thing, and ha.
Well, I think if that was very Pavlov spacecraft. Or Chekhov spacecraft, excuse me. Chekhov spacecraft.
You think so?
I think they had to do something with it. So someone had to be in the spaceship at some point.
But the more that you keep teasing us with it, and then we, and again, like we're going to be waiting quite a while then, I think, for that, and unless that's one of the announcements at D23. But even then, we're probably looking at 2025.
Yeah. Well, it really depends on what they're going to do with it,
Mm-hmm.
because it would be hard to do World War Hulk, and they've already kind of done Planet Hulk, but
Right.
World War Hulk, his wife and kid get killed, or his wife gets killed. He comes
Mm-hmm.
back to the planet angry at the Illuminati for sending him there.
Right.
None of
So
that
they have to
stuff.
come up. They'd have to come up with something, because that wouldn't work anymore. He's obviously going there of his own accord,
Yeah.
and Tony's gone, so that's a huge part of it. We'd have to have Reed introduced and firmly, in the universe.
Yeah.
Trying to think of who else it was that was responsible for sending him away. Doctor Strange, I think.
Unless, okay, hear me out. This just can't pop in my head.
Yeah.
What if the World War Hulk doesn't take place on Earth?
Yeah.
What if he goes back
Mm-hmm.
and basically tears apart Sakaar?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, last we saw Grandmaster, he seemed to be losing power. He was defeated at the end of Ragnarok. He didn't show up in Love and Thunder the way they originally was supposed to. So, yeah, I mean, there could be a new ruling body on Sakaar. It would be really ironic if Bruce works or helps the Grandmaster to get back into power. Like maybe like of the two, the new regime and the Grandmaster was better. So somehow.
Either that, or what if he goes after the Elders of the Universe?
Mm-hmm.
Goes after Grandmaster, and by going after Grandmaster, he has to deal with the Collector and the Champion and all of these guys.
Do you think they'll go down the route of like he has a lover or queen or something, a wife, or and
Yeah.
then do the thing with the son?
I think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure, but I think that's very possible.
Yeah.
And then you also get a younger Hulk to bring into the universe.
That's true. Uh-oh. Is this a way to bring Hulkling in?
Well, I think Hulkling will come in through a Secret Invasion, since Hulkling is actually a Skrull.
Mm.
Or he's actually a Skrull Kree mix.
Kree, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think this is more likely we're going to get either Scar or Amadeus Cho. So.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is how they do Hulkling. I mean, they can twist things around as much as they want.
Absolutely, they could. So.
I hope this is not very telling that we've talked more about the Bruce Banner part of She-Hulk.
Well, there really wasn't a lot to it. I mean, we knew she was going to get hired by GLK&H.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned this on my other show. I don't know if we mentioned it here, but what GLK&H stands for, of course, is Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg, and Holloway. And, of course, that's for Martin Goodman, Stanley Lieber, or Stanley, Jack Kurtzberg, or Jack Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
I did like the fact that there was a comic book room in there, and that's from Dan Slott's run.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that Dan actually tweeted about how they turned the one thing completely around, that in his version of it they wanted her as Jen Walters, but they in this they wanted her as She-Hulk, which just makes more sense for the show.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I think the core of the episode was that they had to reestablish Emil Blonsky.
Yeah, and I think they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
I think Tim Roth was great.
Mm-hmm.
And just there's so many little things in what he said. It's like I'm hearing a lot of people talk about, the Seven Soulmates. And they're talking about, maybe that's the Thunderbolts. And I'm like, it's not the Thunderbolts. There's a picture that shows them back in that area with Jen and Blonsky. And then there's like a glass partition with 7 women behind there, all dressed up.
that's what it is. It's that whole thing about, pen pals of people in prison and whatever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Easter egg videos that I like to watch on YouTube is Screen Crush. He got it completely wrong. He thought for sure they said cellmates, and he's like, "This is it. This is the Thunderbolt." And everybody starts commenting, "No, dude, he said soulmates. I promise you, he said soulmates."
Yep. Yeah. Soulmates through the pen pal program. They
Big
don't.
question: do you think Emil's being honest with everything he's saying to Jen?
I don't think we've been given enough. No, for sure. Because I think it's possible. He might, because he came over to do the job he was hired to do.
Right.
Given the opportunity to take the super soldier serum, he took it. Did that affect him to become much more aggressive? Did that affect him to then insist on getting the Hulk blood?
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
We're assuming that Emil really was pushing, but that could have been the side effect of the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually started feeling some sympathy for him, and then I stopped myself, and it's like, how stupid are you? You've watched millions of things like this. Of course he's faking. They have to have conflict in this show. But right now, I really want to hear the explanation for why Wong is taking him out to a fight club. How is he justifying, that at all? And what is that going to mean?
I do have a theory for that. Wong is a sorcerer supreme.
Mm-hmm.
Abomination is this huge level power threat.
Mm-hmm.
He protects the world from mystic stuff, but maybe he looked at that and went, well, if I can teach Emil to control his anger, especially in a fight situation where he can keep control of his anger, So I think it's possible that Wong took it upon himself to, and perhaps, I mean, if Emil is legit, I mean, and written the haikus and all that stuff,
yeah.
If he is legitimately turning over a new leaf, then Wong guiding him and teaching him to control his anger and his aggression and testing him in these fights and stuff, that makes sense.
But he had to have thought that it was going to backfire or get Blonsky into trouble once the news got out. I mean,
well, but would the news have come out if ShangChi hadn't shown up for that fight? Because when it got word out that Busboy was coming, everybody started betting. It became more popular. So more people showed up to the fight. Maybe they weren't that popular until Busboy got famous for the Frisco bus fight and then showed up to fight.
Do you feel that SheHulk is taking place somewhat concurrently with Shang-Chi, the movie?
I'm thinking it's probably a little after.
Just a little, but you know, I mean, here in the real world, it's been how long since Shang-Chi came out now?
Yeah. But, if you look at it, Bruce was in a sling like he was at the beginning of She-Hulk. So I'm thinking that it took that the end of Shang-Chi is definitely X number of days before the start of She-Hulk. Yeah. I don't think Shang-Chi took place between episodes 1 and 2.
No, I would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how long would it take for that video to get out and then go viral and all of that, which I thought would happen pretty quickly. But
do you have something worth sharing until someone comes out and says, hey, look on the news, that Abomination guy that broke up Brooklyn, or not Brooklyn, what part was it?
That was a long time ago, and I was a completely different person.
Where the Apollo Theater was. Where the Apollo is. He, suddenly it comes out that he's trying to get parole. It makes the local news, and some guy goes, wait, I have him fighting. How I thought he wasn't in jail. He was fighting.
Yeah.
Uploads it and
Yeah.
told that he doesn't know he has anything special.
Yeah. It's also an odd thing for Blonsky to do if he's really trying to go straight or be a good boy. And, I mean, kind of sneaking out of his prison cell is not necessarily the thing to do.
But it could have been months beforehand.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And
again, I'm looking forward to Wong's finally making an appearance in the show, and then the explanation from there of why that's going on. I love how this has obviously been in the works, for a while. I mean, as far back as filming ShangChi and
yeah,
SheHulk was delayed. Am I right in that?
I think a little bit, but not
Okay.
a lot.
I would assume that they probably thought that the movie Shang-Chi and this show were going to come out a little bit closer.
Maybe
in time, maybe.
I mean, could it be 10 months since the fight on She-Hulk? It's possible. So
potentially, yeah.
Now the interesting theory I got is if that's Jennifer's family, and it's her uncles and aunts were all there. Mm-hmm. There's one woman at the table sitting there that didn't get identified. You think that was Bruce's mom?
I thought about that. Now, Screen Crush thinks that it is not Bruce's mother, but rather it's, I guess, Bruce's aunt, which would be Jen's mother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, that was an interesting thought that I had too. I tend to think it wasn't. I don't know why I think that they wouldn't wouldn't show us.
There were three women. There were three women at the table. The hairstylist who was married to the one uncle.
Yeah.
Then there was the wife of cousin Larry.
Yeah.
And then there was another woman there. So,
well, which one is one of them supposed to be Jen's mother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Larry's wife.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're confusing me by calling him,
Sorry, Mark Baker's wife.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's another woman. So, next to the mom is sitting next to Jen, and then there's the dad, and then there's another woman there.
Yeah. Well, you would think they would have the opportunity to have her go, Aunt blah so and so, blah blah blah, and then we could probably more realistically say, okay, that's Bruce's mother then.
But it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, very, very, very much so. I don't remember. Is this Bruce Banner in the MCU supposed to have the same childhood as Banner in the comics with the abuse and all of that? That I don't remember if that was ever revealed in the
I don't think they get into it in the movies.
Okay.
They kind of gloss over his origin. They do the origin in the opening credits.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He's working on a project he doesn't know as part of the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Thing.
Well, it's funny. The Incredible Hulk is sort of a sequel to the Hulk. I mean, as far as they didn't repeat the origin because it had already been told, right?
Oh yeah, but they didn't repeat the origin for Spider-Man. That's not really
that's true.
To the previous
That's true.
Yeah, I think they just went, the origins.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like Fantastic Four. I don't know how much origin story we'll get with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Well, we had talked about that. Maybe some kind of recap. There's a talking head on a news program that relates it quickly. The famous foursome that were exposed to cosmic rays and blah blah blah, and then that's it.
Well, if they happen to pop up in the middle of Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, then you get kind of a Spider-Man entrance. He showed up in Captain America Civil War, and then walked over and you already know him. You met him in that movie.
Yep.
don't need an introduction. You've already got him. Here we go.
I don't know. I don't know. At this point, the Fantastic Four is such an 800-pound gorilla in the room that I just don't know if they can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm hoping for it or not hoping for it. It would seem fantastic if they would do it that way, but what do I know? All bets are off.
It's one of the few things that really makes sense to me. The fact that you've got the first, I mean, unless you're going to do them as a completely young, brand new characters, and there's so many young characters being introduced that I think the Fantastic Four needs to have a certain level of gravitas. You know, they can't just be the new kids on the block coming into the MCU.
I totally agree.
They kind of need to be the
That's
first.
why I don't want the X-Men in the MCU. You know, it's too much and too much baggage, and then they'll be the new kids on the block. Then does anybody really want that?
But if they do it that they existed in the '60s, went into the negative zone or the quantum realm, and then ends up coming out in Quantum Mania, and then go on to their own movie, that makes a lot of sense.
We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is I don't know if they would announce it or just have them show up.
Oh, no, I think they would. If they're going to do it, they're just going to show up. It's going to be a John Krasinski thing all over again.
Yeah, or Jonathan Majors in Loki.
Yeah,
just suddenly appearing as He Who Remains.
Or Clea.
Yeah. Yeah, no one saw that coming.
No. Nope.
I'm glad they did it. I like Clea. But yeah, I think overall I really liked the She-Hulk episode. It felt really short, and I'm not one to complain about the length of these.
I did not feel that. Yeah, I know that's seems to be the biggest complaint, and I withheld, coming down on people for it. Like, I was gonna say, why don't you look at it more like it wasn't that it was too short, or it more like you loved it so much, and that's why you felt it was so short that you wanted more and focused more on that.
A lot of people are saying, well, it's the same length as a half-hour sitcom.
Well, sure. That's what I was thinking.
It's not. It's the same amount of story, but there are pauses with commercials that make it longer, and they give you whatever amount of time it is to let what's happened ruminate in your brain, and then comes back. So even though that extra time is commercial, you still have that spread out over that 30 minutes.
Sure, you're spending a third. What was the runtime?
Like with it was like 28 minutes with credits.
Okay.
So it came to be like 23, 24 minutes.
I didn't. Maybe I'm weird in that sense. I didn't feel it didn't feel short to me. I don't know. I sit down and I watch these things and they happen, and I mean, we'll see if it keeps going on like that. Then I don't know.
Well, I know next episode's supposed to be just as short. I don't know about after that.
And the first one was how long?
That I'd have to look up.
Maybe they shouldn't have had a longer first one and get everybody used to that. And well, that was the WandaVision complaint in the beginning.
Yeah. The first episode was 35 minutes, counting credits.
Okay.
Second episode, 28 minutes. And you think the credits with all that stuff is probably about 7 minutes?
Okay.
So you're looking at about 28 minutes and 22 minutes. But it's a 22 minutes. It's a fast-paced 22 minutes too. Yeah. I don't think anybody was saying, "Oh, it needed more content," but it could have used like maybe a little more breathing room.
And how many episodes though?
9.
Okay, well we're getting a little bit more than right.
Yeah.
There you go. We're getting a 9th episode instead of 8.
Yep. No, like I said, most of the time I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
This one felt short to me. This one, it's like it felt like it should have had another couple minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prediction time. When does Daredevil show up? What episode?
I think that's going to be 6 or 7.
I think so too. It's going to be later. They're going to make you wait for that one.
I think that's the second arc of the first season. I think the first big story is going to be Emil Blonsky, and then whatever Daredevil's involved in is going to be the second arc.
Yeah. Were you surprised that Titania didn't reappear?
No, because I think they needed to. I think she's going to be kind of one of those pops up occasionally type bad guys. Is more of an annoyance than she is going to be a big story plot. I think she's just going to be an annoyance.
Okay.
I think we had to get to Blonsky.
Yeah.
We had to get her and we had to get her into the law firm and get her to Blonsky.
Do you feel that Matt Murdock will show up before Daredevil?
Yeah.
I do too. That's how I see it happening, that we get Matt first and then Daredevil. And then you have a little bit of winky to us as far as stuff that he might be saying or whatever. Or we get this. Daredevil appears and SheHulk turns to us and said, "Who is he kidding?"
Yeah.
You know, like she just figures it out immediately and then says that.
Or the worst one ever. Yellow and red? Was he blind?
Yeah. Now that you said it, now they're going to do that. Now, man, if you hadn't said it, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Had a really fun show, Jim. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get back to Arlo and Guthrie. That's a little more Dylan.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, with Garlo, you got to slow down a little and kind of pause your conversation.
Or is it Bob Ross?
Bob Ross. Oh, God. Got a happy little trees here. Just little happy trees. All right. That was a lot of fun. We will be back next week to talk more about SheHulk and whatever else comes up this week.
And Rings of Power.
Rings of Power, yeah. So I will definitely watch that when it comes on Prime if I don't get over to the theater, so we can definitely talk about that. So good night,
I'll
everybody.
be able to talk about 2 episodes.
But you'll only talk about one if that's the only one that's released.